Welcome to our review lesson of 7EE1. What I'm going to do with you is I'm going to go through a couple of the problems, one or two per section, and explain and write out the work for it. Please make sure that you're following along and also writing out the work because you're going to finish the rest of this worksheet on your own. So the first problem we're going to look at together is question number 4. Now remember, anytime that you plug in a number for an exponent, you have to wrap the number in parentheses. Additionally, anytime that you plug in a negative number, we recommend that you wrap it in parentheses, but for an exponent, you have to. It's mandatory. So let's go ahead and try this one, number 4. This first negative sign is just sitting right out front. It does not go in parentheses because it was not in parentheses up here. So negative sign, and then in parentheses, negative 5 squared plus, now we need a squared, which is negative 5 still, negative 5 squared. And it's important that we wrap it in parentheses because a number in parentheses being squared and a number not in parentheses being squared mean totally different things. So let's go ahead and take a look. Our first letter in John Vos is G for grouping. There aren't any groupings here. But there are exponents, so we're going to go ahead and expand our exponents to take a look at them. Sometimes people will make a mistake with the first part, and what they'll do on accident is they will try to cancel off these two negatives. But we can't actually do that because there's not really two negatives there. There's 1, 2, 3 negatives there. Okay, so when we go to simplify this, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25, and then I'm going to drop my negative sign in. Plus, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Negative 25 plus 25 is 0, and that's my final answer for number 4. Okay, on to the next section. This tells me to simplify. Remember to leave change opposite if you see any subtraction. So let's go ahead and look at number 7. What I'm going to first do is leave change opposite. So 7xy plus negative 12 plus, sorry about that, plus 8x plus negative 4xy plus 2x plus 5x squared. Now the next thing I'm going to do is kind of underline the numbers that are going to go together. So 8x is going to go with 2x. And 7xy is going to go with negative 4xy. And then I've got a couple that don't have any match, and that's okay too. So when I go to write my final answer, I'm going to order it fanciest first. 5x squared is going to be first, and I've used it so I can lightly cross it off if I'd like. My next fanciest is these xy's. So I'm going to write a plus sign because these are all plus signs in here. 7xy plus negative 4xy is 3xy. Okay, now I've used these plus, my next fanciest are these two, 8x plus 2x is 10x, plus, and my last number, negative 12. Now, none of these are like terms, so they can't be simplified any further. So that's my final answer for number 7, 5x squared plus 3xy plus 10x plus negative 12. Okay. Next one, very similar, except the leaf change opposite here is super important. In fact, you can't even get the right answer here unless you leaf change opposite first. So what we're going to do is, I'll try number 13 with you. X times the quantity, 4x plus 6, plus negative 5 times the quantity, x squared minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute. X times 4 is 4x. Squared, x times 4x is 4x squared plus x times 6 is 6x plus, now I'm going to distribute the negative 5. Negative 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. And I need to make this plus a negative as well, so negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. So again, what I did first was leave change opposite. My second step was to distribute. And the reason I had to distribute is because John Vos tells me grouping first, and I couldn't do anything in the groups. They weren't like terms, so I had to distribute. And so now my final step is just to combine like terms. 4x squared and negative 5x squared is negative 1x squared, or you could just say negative x squared, plus 6x plus 15. And that's my final answer right there. All right, on to the last section, which is factoring. Remember, for factoring, we're pulling out the greatest common factor and kind of making it look like a distributive property. Question, it's the opposite of the distributive property. So we'll do, let's do two problems together here. We'll do number, let me see if there's a better one to do. Actually, let's do 16 and 17. We'll do 16 and 17. Okay. So number 16, basically what we are looking for is what is the biggest number I can divide them by. I can divide them both by 7, and I can divide them both by y, but let's go ahead and look at the prime factorization. Sometimes that's helpful for people. So the prime factorization of 14y squared is 2 times 7 times y times y. And then the prime factorization of 7y is 7 times y. So basically what I can see from the prime factorization is that 7 and y are the common factors. So for number 16, 7y is going to sit out front, and I'm going to have parentheses with a minus sign in between them. 7y times what is 14y squared? The answer is 2y. 7 times 2 is 14, and y times y is y squared. And then 7y times what would be 7y, and that would just be a 1. Okay, next part. I need to figure out what I can divide both of these by, and that would be the number 5. And so what I'm left with is x plus 8. Okay, so go ahead and try those. You don't need to show the prime factorization. You don't need to show the work, but sometimes it's helpful, especially for something more complicated like number 20. All right, thanks for watching our review on 7EE1. Good luck with the rest of the sheet.